America is known around the world as the land of dreams. Its economy is the biggest, industries are powerful, and cities are magnificent. But behind all this glitz and glamour, there is a heartbreaking reality. 5 million Americans live without a home. In downtown Los Angeles, New York, or San Francisco, you will see people sleeping in tents, benches, or broken down cars. They are not only drug addicts or the mentally ill, as many people believe. They are mothers, veterans, workers, and even students. It is shocking to think that a country that spends billions on space programs, defense and technology cannot provide basic shelter to all its citizens. How is this possible? How can a nation so prosperous suffer so quietly? This isn't just a housing issue, it's a moral issue. Homelessness in America doesn't always make the news, but it's happening every day, and it's getting worse. Most of us walk past homeless people without looking them in the eye. We've grown accustomed to ignoring them. But maybe it's time to stop and ask, why is this happening? Start with the facts. According to BBC, more than 582,000 people are homeless on any given night in the United States. That's more than the population of an entire city. Nearly 30% of homeless people are families with children, which means children are growing up without a permanent roof over their head. There are over 37,000 ex-servicemen who once risked their lives for the country, now leaving the country and sleeping on cold sidewalks. Even more shocking is that many of them are homeless. They work in grocery stores, restaurants, or construction sites, but they can't even make enough to pay their rent. In cities like San Francisco or New York, rent for a one-bedroom apartment can exceed $2,000 per month. Meanwhile, the federal minimum wage is still $7.25 per hour. What's the math? How can anyone survive like that? Compare that to the U.S.'s annual military budget, which is over $800 billion, and you'll see the imbalance. They have money for war, but not for homes. These numbers aren't just data, they're a warning of a system that's failing its people. Many people think someone becomes homeless because they're lazy or make bad choices. But the reality is much more complicated. The biggest reason is the lack of affordable housing. Rent prices are skyrocketing in many cities, while salaries have remained the same. Even people working full-time jobs are not able to survive. Then there is a medical emergency. A hospital bill can wipe out one's savings and put one on the street. The U.S. does not have universal health care, and millions of people are one illness away from becoming homeless. Mental health and addiction are also major factors. Many people on the streets are struggling with depression, PTSD, or addiction, but are unable to get adequate help. Rehabilitation centers are expensive. Mental health clinics are overcrowded. At its peak, domestic violence forces many women and children to flee their homes. For some, it leads to a gradual collapse. No pay means they don't have to pay rent. Another hidden reason is that rich people move into the old areas. Rents go up and long-term residents are pushed out. Poor people are forced to leave, but it is not cheap to move elsewhere. Homelessness doesn't always happen suddenly. It's often the result of years of struggling in an unsuitable system. Behind every homeless face is a story. A real person with real dreams, memories, and pain. Maria, a single mother, worked 2 jobs to feed her 2 children. When her rent went up by $400 a month, she couldn't pay it. She tried asking for help, but there was a long waiting list for government housing. Within a few weeks, she and her children were living in her car. She still goes to work, drops her kids off at school, and tries to act normal. But every night, they sleep in the parking lot, praying they won't be disturbed. David is a war veteran who served in Iraq. After coming home, he struggled with PTSD. His family didn't know how to help him. The government didn't provide enough aid. He became lonely, unemployed, and eventually homeless. He says the streets feel more like a battlefield than a war this time. No one is coming to save him. These are just 2 examples, but there are thousands of such examples. Those who had a normal life, home, family, goals, are now forgotten and judged. Most people consider it their fault, but life can change in an instant. These stories remind us that homelessness can be hard for anyone. If you think the government and society are doing enough to help, think again. The system is broken. Rental assistance programs have long waiting lists. Public housing is underfunded, and it's often in poor condition. Mental health and addiction services are either not available to most people or are too expensive. For someone trying to escape homelessness, the process is often fraught with red tape and known people filling out forms. Wait 60 days. Provide an address, even if you don't have one. How does this make sense? In many cities, instead of helping, local governments are criminalizing homelessness. They tear down tents, confiscate belongings, and pass laws banning sleeping in public places. But where do people go? The shelters are overcrowded and unsafe. Some have strict rules that force people to choose between safety and freedom. Others don't allow pets, couples, or people with mental health needs. These systems often push people into poverty rather than lift them out of poverty. Meanwhile, luxury condos and skyscrapers are being built everywhere. Entire blocks lie empty because no one can afford to buy them, but they are being built anyway. Why? Because profits matter more than people. As a result, the rich get richer and the poor are forgotten. The truth is that the system isn't just broken, it's designed to benefit the few and ignore the many. When we think of homeless people, we see someone with a cardboard board on the sidewalk, but that's only part of the story. Many homeless people are invisible to the public eye. They sleep in cars, live in vacant buildings, or move from one friend's couch to another's. They are the hidden homeless, and they often suffer silently. They are not counted in official reports, so the actual number of homeless people in the U.S. is much higher than we count. They also include college students who cannot afford housing. They go to class during the day and sleep in libraries or cars at night. There are families who check into cheap motels because they don't have to go anywhere else. Some people bounce between shelters and temporary accommodations, not knowing where they will be next week. They live in constant fear of drawing attention, being judged, or being kicked out. Because they don't look homeless, they often don't seek help. No marks, no tents, no begging, but the pain is just as deep. Stress, anxiety, and despair consume them. Many feel ashamed thinking they failed. But in reality, it is the system itself that makes them fail. These hidden stories show us that homelessness has many faces, and unless we pay attention, we will never understand the full picture. The most shocking thing about homelessness in America is the contrast. In cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York, you can walk a few blocks and see both extreme wealth and extreme poverty. On one side, you have luxury apartments, five-star hotels, and billion-dollar tech offices. Just steps away, people are sleeping in tents, begging for food, or spreading rumors in garbage cans. This isn't just a contrarian viewpoint, it's an emotional blow to the gut. In Los Angeles, new luxury condos sell for millions of dollars, while outside their gates, there are homeless people for blocks. Vacant high-res lights illuminate the night while thousands sleep under tarps. Silicon Valley has produced more billionaires than any other region, but it has one of the highest homeless populations in the country. In a country of private jets, space tourism, and record-breaking profits, how come we still have children living in shelter homes? It's not that the resources don't exist, but rather they aren't being used to solve the problem. Money is moving, but it is concentrated in a few hands. Real estate developers build for profit, not for people. The government gives tax breaks to luxury builders, but cuts funding for affordable housing. This creates a system in which the rich are juxtaposed against the poor, and the poor are blamed for their situation. This contrast is not only unfair, it is dangerous. It divides society into two worlds, one that thrives and the other that barely survives. And the gap is even bigger. If we want to create a fairer and more humane society, we need to start asking the tough questions. How did we do this? And more importantly, what are we going to do about it? Although the problem is massive, it is still expected. All across the US and in other countries, there are solutions that actually work. One of the most effective methods is called housing first. The idea is simple. Instead of forcing homeless people to meet a list of primary needs, such as obtaining housing, finding a job, etc., we first give them a safe, stable home and then provide them with the support they need. Places like Utah and Finland have used this model with great success, dramatically reducing the number of homeless people. There are also organizations and volunteers doing amazing work, building tiny house villages, converting vacant buildings into shelters, and running mobile health clinics. Some groups offer job training, mental health care, and addiction recovery support. Even small efforts, such as handing out hygiene kits or providing a hot meal, can change someone's day, or even their life. Another powerful solution is rent control in affordable housing development. If the city prioritized building homes that people could actually afford rather than luxury condos, fewer people would be forced into housing. Access to better mental health care and rehabilitation services could also keep thousands of people from ending up on the streets. And it's not just about the government or nonprofit organizations. Ordinary people can help too by donating, volunteering, or simply treating homeless people with kindness and respect. No one chooses to be homeless. When we show compassion instead of judgment, we begin to build a society where everyone matters. Homelessness is not permanent. With the right policies, the right priorities, and the right mindset, we can solve it. It won't be easy. It won't happen right away. But it is possible, and it starts with being careful enough to act. The next time you meet someone on the street, remember they once had homes, families, and dreams, just like you did. Homelessness isn't a choice. It's often the result of a broken system that forgets the people it serves. But you don't have to live this way. Don't just rehash the past. Share this story with your colleagues and loved ones. Talk about it. Let's give a voice to the invisible, because change starts with awareness. And awareness starts with you. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.